Welcome everyone to the final PGIs analysis stream. I could do more, but there's simply no games left. This is the final game of the tournament, or the final 5 games of the tournament. I'm Toby, of course, and as chat is so kind of saying right now, please stop talking and start the game. And you know what? Normally, I don't have that power during the actual broadcasts, but here I do. With the click of a button, we can start the game. So we might as well do that right here, right now, because as I said, I do actually have that power here. So and a 3 and a 2 and a 3 to 1. Let's just get straight into it. No reason to wait any longer. There we go. Plane coming in on the east side, north to south. Pretty straightforward. Let's see. Let's let people get landed and everything. From day 1 to day 2, is there anything here that kind of that sticks out? Gen G dropped early. They've done that before. Miramar, wide split out towards the east. Can easily do that. They don't have any teams over here contesting them. Frigate Freaks doing their usual split. MCG looting towards the west. Day Trade on the south side. They would normally go out in this direction. Face down here. They've done that plenty of times before. Liquid, San Martin. They've been there. So no big surprises on how this one looks. Now for the first circle, is there anything that we should keep in mind? I mean, we do have a pretty big open area down towards the south. Hills up here, hills out towards the west side here as well. Other than that, this circle really is pretty straightforward. When you're coming in from the south, of course, I mean, you can see we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with their split, 7, 8-ish, even though they are kind of inside the circle already. So there's quite a few teams that will have to rotate into the circle from the south, and that can be a little bit of trouble, because when we look at this, like if we take a look at what they have in terms of entry points to the circle, this up here, as you know, is a pretty big hill. So you're going to be driving up here with absolutely no vision on what's happening over on this side of the circle. Like, you have no clue what's going on over here. Either that, or you're going to be driving through Minas, which can be a little dangerous. You don't necessarily know exactly when the Frigate Freaks or whichever team lands here is going to leave. You can try going through here and over towards El Azahar, but again, a city-ish area, it's dangerous. You can try and drive uphill around Junkyard. Again, no info on what's happening on the other side of the hill. Then you can go further west. You can send it over this way and go down this, we call it kind of the death road. You know, it's oftentimes follows a lot of death coming in this way. There can be teams in the compounds. There can be teams sitting up here, teams sitting down here waiting for you. And oftentimes the teams that come up this way, either they go down or they end up having to fight a whole lot. Then we have this, of course, mountain stretch over here. We've drawn it a billion times before. So you can kind of see that if you want to move in on the south side, either, I mean, you pretty much have to go through here. Unless if you want to wrap around that way, or if you want to come up all the way around this way. So let's see. We have, what did I say? Let's see here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish. Let's say we have 9 teams. 9 teams on the south side. I'm going to draw up 2 lines. We'll draw it in a color so you can better see it. Here through here. How many teams of the 9... Let's say 8, because Frigate Freaks don't really count in that math. How many teams of the 8 down here do you think are going to be rotating into the circle through this light blue or turquoise, whatever color you want to call it, path? Out of the 8 teams down towards the south, how many teams go through? Cali says 4. Did the teams know they were being guaranteed 50k? Yes, I'm pretty sure they did, because it was announced early. 3 for Alice, 6 for Salty. Okay, 6. 3 for Nada Zero. I'll give you a few more seconds to think about it, but only a few. There you go. That's a few seconds gone. Puck says 4. Great. Let's see. Let's see how many end up making it through in that direction. Ramp, they're already up here. They're gonna send full speed forward. Makes pretty good sense. Infantry, nah. Out towards the east they go. They don't like doing that. Sonics, nah. They wrap around. Day Trade, nah. They wrap around. Multi-Circle Gaming, nah. They wrap around. T1, are they going to be the first ones to go through the middle? They're coming in late. 1 through. Both they wrapped around the side, so that doesn't count. 1 through so far. Base, are they going to do it? 2 through. Only 2 teams opted to rotate in from here to here. Only 2. T1 and FaZe Clan. And they were pretty much the last 2 teams to even get into the circle. It's just interesting, right? Because now, as you see, normally, when you have Circle 1 pop, whichever, like this is a hard shift, right? So whichever end it would be on, it would be traffic, less traffic, no traffic. If that makes sense. But now, since only 2 teams came in from down here, it's actually traffic, less traffic, no traffic. Because only 2 teams came in down here, right? So if you look at where there's space in the circle, like usually wouldn't be before phase 2 that teams do that wide wraparound. But here we have Infantry already doing it, MCG did it, Sonics are doing it, Day Trader coming up that direction, Chianpa backtracking Infantry up in that direction. Everyone wants to wrap north around, as opposed to trying to just send it in, which would technically be the shorter difference from, or distance from the south. You win absolutely nothing, Gandalf. You win the pleasure of being correct and having learned something. That should be enough in itself. So everyone's wrapping up north. South is clear. Now the circle does go up in this direction. What happens with that? Let's see. Liquid, 4-way split, or 3-way split, I should say. Sonics, 2-way split. MCG sitting in a split. Infantry are coming in now. They realize that, okay, we guessed correct. We wrapped around the north side. We came in from the east. And now I have a chance to run up north. But what the hell can we play from up here? We can go up and check out the hill. But the hill is, you're already hearing shots being fired between 4 AM and Gen G. So we might want to wrap either over to the hill on the other side or try and play in below that. Ram, in the meantime, they have a 2-way split. They, of course, just send 2 people down here. Freak of Freaks in a 3-way split. They might want to group up. They could still maintain a 2-way split, but they probably don't want to sit 2-1-1 in this circle. Zenith, they have a split going. 2 guys in water treatment, 2 guys in the compound on the west side. And down towards the south, of course, T1, they were in the center before. They're now going to wrap over and take control over on this side. Split's better to play than 4-man group. Early game, yes, I would say so, because you have more control. I mean, if you have a chance, let's rewind a second and say, even though Liquid aren't sitting far apart in a 2-1-1 split, if they had been 4 guys in this compound, a team could have pulled up and taken this, or a team could have pulled up and taken this. And all of a sudden, if the circle goes west, like had it gone out to the west, and this compound was out, then you were like, well, that sucks, now we have to rotate. Instead, what they do is they keep 3 compounds, right? And then when the next circle pops, A, there's a bigger chance that they're in the circle because they take up more space. And B, should there be more than 1 compound inside the next circle of theirs, they can just pick and choose which one they prefer according to the new circle. So it's like saying, should I play poker with 1 card on my hand? Or should I play poker with 4 cards on my hand? There's a bigger chance of winning if you have more control. That being said, you can of course always risk losing players when you're splitting, but that's because either A, you're not ready to give up the split when you have to be, or B, a team pulls up on you that you didn't expect, but that kind of goes hand in hand with the first, that you should always, like whenever you play a split position, like this for example, if a team comes, if Ram decides to, you know what, let's push a Freak of Freaks here, these 2 players should always be ready to either go over here or go over here, and a card should be ready to shoot up at the guys trying to rotate in, or maybe he should see them early, allowing for his teammates to leave, and stuff like that. So it's a team play thing, but you should never, in the perfect world, you should never lose players when you're splitting, because the reason for you to try and split is that you can always just back off to one of the other positions if you have to. I hope that answered your question. Circle goes up towards the north. 4 a.m. they crash into Gen G. They take out 1 infantry. As I said, wrap over the north. They hear the commotion up on the top side of the hill, so they don't want to just fully aggro into it. Oath, they go complete YOLO rotation. I wasn't quite sure what they were planning on doing. This made absolutely no sense to me when I watched it. So Oath, they sit out here. They clearly, I mean, they scout forward. And they start rotating. So they go in their cars. Let's follow the Oath rotation. They go in their cars. They start driving forward. I thought at first they were going to stop here. But they drive straight past it. Continue driving. Maybe they wanted this, I'm not sure. But they don't get it. They could have pulled up on a 4v2 split. But they don't take the fight. They keep driving. Snakers flips his buggy. He ends up dying. They keep driving, and now all of a sudden they full speed send it into Summer, who has to disengage and ends up getting killed. So they went from here to there without having had any chance at all to scout it. That's a pretty insane rotation, not gonna lie. That is a pretty insane rotation. To crash something that you don't even know if it's free. But I mean, they do get 3 guys up there, and they kind of stay alive. So it wasn't the worst rotation. It was just very, very YOLO to do that in phase 2. So up there they go. STK comes in out on the west side of the circle. So we have like a full on, this is pretty funny. We have NA, like NA west side. We have EU South. It's just like all the teams are sitting next to each other. Tianba, 4 a.m. and infantry out here. China on that side. That was pretty funny. Burham and DXG down here. Like your stream makes me understand more about the teams. Oh, thank you so much, shit. I'm glad you enjoy it. New circle pops, and now things become incredibly difficult. We shift out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, all these as well. So essentially we shift out like 10, 12 compounds. And now, of course, we know teams will have to make a move. And not only will they have to make a move, but this whole area, if we draw it up kind of like this, it actually goes through, right? So this whole area is a big mountain, which peaks up here. It kind of peaks down here as well, but then there's like a little lowland, and then it peaks again, like then there's another peak up here on top. So it's all just, you know, uphill in that direction. Down here, there's a little bit of a plateau, a little bit of a valley that you can sit in. But other than that, it's pretty much just, you know, uphill in this direction. So for everyone trying to play this side, like if we have the peak up here or even the peak down here, for anyone trying to play in this area, it's incredibly difficult because these compounds are still in. So if you're trying to sit here, these guys will, for some, like some of them, will most likely have eyes on you or have a chance to shoot at you. Unless if you find a little rock that you can hide behind. But if you're just sitting behind a rock, it's very limited what you can do in terms of scouting forward, what you can do in terms of trying to shoot back, get some kills, get some points. You know, you're just sitting there to kind of hide it out and hope that the circles keep going your way. And that's not what, I mean, the majority anyway of these teams like to do. So it's really difficult to get a good position to play from in this area when these compounds are technically still inside the circle. So there's not really anything you can claim over here. Zenith, they play 2-2 in the compound below. I was surprised to see them never getting contested in the compound. There's only one team inside water treatment, and we have the teams up on the hill here as well. But right now, the main threat is this cluster out towards the west. Sonics will have to move, Daytrade has to move, STK needs to move, FaZe has to find a way in, and if we cut the circle off and stay on the west side of the road here, there's just not a lot that you can play. You can sit down here, but again, you're going to be visible to the teams up on the hill on the other side. That's kind of the same, right? You can't play this because this is going to shoot at you, and you can't really play this because this is going to shoot at you. So you're going to be under fire constantly, and if you get your tires popped here and you have to rotate on foot, you're pretty much screwed. Multi-circle gaming, they rotate on up. They want to play safe. They realize that, oh no, infantry up there. Let's just go down and play below instead. Smart disengage on their part. Day trade comes in instead. They take the fight to infantry. And SDK has a chance to third party on it. They see them. They see the knock come in, but they don't aggress on it. And Genji Sonics, they wrap in below. They opt to sit in the open here rather than crash the compound. I thought they were going to crash this, but I think many people expected this circle to go west. So now that it shifts back, they're like, well, I mean, we're in the circle. All these teams have to leave and get inside the circle somehow. We might as well just sit tight up here instead of pushing down this way. And also, I think their vehicles got shot at pretty massively when they made their way down in that direction. So they need to just sit tight for now. FaZe Clan, I don't think they still have vehicles. They need to do something, maybe try and push down. Liquid, still maintaining their two-way split. They both just got shifted out, so they, of course, need to find a way to go as well. But again, where the fuck do you go? There's really only the compound on this side of the circle. You can try and sit on the plateau, but because the hill is still in, it's incredibly difficult to maintain control there. Other than that, you can try and go to the other side, like this side of the hill that goes down in this direction. You can try and sit down here. And hope that the compound doesn't shoot at you, because from here at least you're kind of hidden. Like on this hillside, you're kind of hidden from what's happening up here, but then you're exposed to this instead. At least you then only have to worry about one angle. But if you're sitting down here on this side, you're also at all times worried about maybe a team is going to push around the back that way. Maybe a team is going to just come over the hill. Maybe they're going to wrap from inside and try and hold us out. So you're relying on teams like Zenith and the teams up on the hill to get the info for you in order to prevent these guys from pushing. Because as soon as you push over this hill yourself and you stand up here and you look this direction, these guys can see you. These guys can see you. Those guys can see you. And that's just going to be incredibly difficult to really work around. SDK, wrapping north around, want to take the fight across. They make it full speed towards the shack. 4 guys up there. Oath, they send it across as well. They manage to get into the dip on the other side. Liquid, push forward to the shack. Again, for some reason, no one opted to push down to Oath. They knew this was free. No one's been moving from like there in a billion years. And Zenith just gets to stay there. Everyone is fighting on the other side. FaZe push down. They take out Sonics. They take over their spot. 8 is the only one left alive. T1 played in slow from the backside. And that's, again, T1, the very last team to join, or to get to the circle. Here they are again, right? All they have to do here is, that's what we were talking about before. We're not worried about teams in here because, I mean, they're not going to be pushing this way. That wouldn't make any sense. And they probably know that Liquid are in this shack. So if any team is running this way, they have to get past Liquid first. And also, if any team starts running this way, they will be shooting at them. And that will kind of work as our alarm. Like they will, once they start shooting in this direction, we will know that there's people coming this way. So all we have to worry about right now is the potential of the water treatment team pushing down towards us. So they go up, they sit on the hillside, they play, as I say, contain, make sure that no one can push that direction, and they just sit and wait. And now they can try and push in while still trying to hold out this team. Because the worst thing that could happen for T1 is that a Freak of Freaks pushes over and manages to hold them out. The issue for Freak of Freaks is, if they run up on this hill, these guys can see them, they can see them, they can see them, Zenith can see them, FaZe can see them. And you just kind of play there. So right now, T1 is effectively being kind of helped out by all the other teams in not allowing for Freak of Freaks to go up on the hillside. Go back in the blue. They get their vehicles. They push further forward. Slow and steady move into the circle. In the meantime, of course, with water treatment getting shifted out, all these teams are being forced to move out in this direction. They're getting kind of squeezed together as the terrain is, well, forcing them to run closer and closer to each other. And this fight pops off. Again, T1 just chilling on the backside, not in a hurry to really go anywhere. Circle shifts north. Zenith, again, still taking full control of the compound, playing outside even to peek forward. Oath, they're doing the best that they can to chill on the rocks in the middle of the circle. 8 has to make a move. Liquid still alive inside the shack. They want to move out, but T1 is containing them on one side. Zenith are containing them on the other side, and Zenith can even see the door. I believe the door on the shack is on this side. So as you can see, they have a pretty good angle to shoot them every single time they get out the door. And there are plenty of vehicles there obstructing the opportunity to kind of move around. So Liquid is just sitting here waiting. Like they're just waiting for teams to come this way. Because then hopefully, if let's say T1 pushes in this direction, Zenith will have shot at them. Maybe they have knocked one, maybe they've knocked two. At least they will most likely have done damage to them. So that once they get close, Liquid can go haha and take them out, and then they can start sitting here and looking in this direction, right? But right now, Liquid's main focus is just survive with 4, wait for the guys to come close, and we can take the fight to them to make more space. Like, we want to be the last team on the edge of the circle. T1, they scout forward. I like how they put Danche across to the other side, realizing that, you know what, I mean, we can scout this. We've scouted that now. There's people in here. There's people up here. We saw them before. We can't really play that shack. And people are constantly shooting from in here. Guys, you know what? I'm looking over this direction right now. We've heard this fight come to an end. Just push up here, take control, and wrap the other way. Smart play by T1. Because if they can go in and they can get down on this side now, then of course they have to worry about what's happening up here. But they're already fighting, like, full-on chaos mode up here. Whereas on the other side, these guys are all just sitting and waiting for T1 to head in that direction. Does that make sense? Again, if I'm saying something too fast, please let me know. They see the knocks, they saw the cluster fight up here, and that's their call to go. Full speed forward. T1 gets down 3, and now they could push out. I like this play. I like this play. I think many teams should have tried to crash down towards Zenith, but they never did. If Liquid should have done it in their situation, alright. They have their split, they get shifted out, they rotate forward. You can see they want to go down here with the way they're driving. They want to go to the dip below, but that's been taken by Sonics. They then go off. And now, I mean, Liquid has had absolutely no chance to scout this compound, right? They have no idea what's happening down here. So now they're getting shot at from there, shot at from there. Maybe they've seen people here. It's too dangerous. It's too dangerous of an angle to crash from. If you came from up here, you could crash this and try and play further forward. That would make sense. But trying to crash it from this angle is too dangerous, especially when you know there's a team here and you're getting shot at by guys here, and maybe you've seen people over here as well. You can't really fault them for not crashing. Especially when you can get this shack and it's in the very center of the circle. I know that GG score keeps track of leaderboards and stuff like that, but I don't know if there's like any other specific ones. So let's fast forward again to where we were before. T1 wraps over. They take the fight to Miramar. They get all the kills. Now Liquid pushes out. EB, unfortunately, as they run out, gets knocked. I like this. Now they know that T1 wrapped on the other side. They have a chance now to go up. If they can get the kills here, if they can claim control, like what Liquid is wanting to do is clear the backside and now have an access point to where they can go to both sides of the hill. They can take the fight here, they can take the fight down here, and if they had to, they can come back towards the shack again, right? So they move out, they try to get the rest. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. Now they try and push up. Danche is on his own, and the main threat here becomes that as they push up in this direction, there is not really anything defending them from this direction. So Clip runs up, gets tagged, gets knocked. Mexi is trying to hold them off, but he can't get the angle, as you can see, with where Mexi is standing. If we draw a perfect line, which I cannot do with freehand, but if we draw a perfect line to where Roth is standing, and we go over here and look at Roth's angle, he's standing just enough behind the house that Mexi can't get eyes on him, but he can get eyes on Clip. So Mexi is defending the window, he's defending down here, but Mexi can't see Roth from where he's standing. So he has to back off. Also, Kickstart is there helping and shooting, right? So there were multiple things that Liquid could have done different. They could have waited. They could just have said, you know what, let's just sit here. But the issue is, at least to me, one of the main reasons for Liquid to run out and make that play is that if T1 clears this, which they kind of already have at this point, if they clear this now and they get up here and they hold out Liquid with Zenith, Liquid never gets out of that check. Like, they have to make a play on one side. They know that Zenith are chilling on the other side. There's no worry for them. They have to make a play either in that direction or in this direction. And since they don't have any vehicles any longer, as they've already been either blown up or had their tires popped, they need to make a play. And they know that they've just fought over here. Now, they are still 4 alive, but this is the best chance they had Should they have had maybe? I mean, it's so much easier to say with hindsight knowledge, right? But maybe Mexi could have held the other angle. But you can say, had he been able to see this, then maybe he hadn't been able to see another angle. It's the smallest things. Maybe that's where the rock was for him to get some cover behind. It's just incredibly difficult. So Clip goes down as they push over. Danche does get knocked. James gets the flush, tries to stay alive on top. Mexi now wants to come up and help him, but it's too late because James has already gone down. Mexi tries to stay alive, has to fall back into the shack again. And then you can go over, why didn't they just stay in the shack? Because, as I said before, if T1 gets full control of this, they never leave the shack regardless. So they had to try and see if they could make a play. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out for them. Zenith, now with the 8 gone down, realized that great, we've contained the last liquid player in here. I believe they saw him push into the shack. Now is when we have to cross. Technically, we could just stay in the compound and hope the circles kept going our way, but if the fight's over here, if they come to an end, and any given team gets high ground, hillside, and high ground, they will contain us in the compound. So we need to make a play to counter that. We need to be across the road before this shit comes to an end, because if not, then we're gonna get kind of stuck inside the compound. So Kickstart runs across, tries to play contain on Mexi. They know there's a solo down there. Hold the angle 1, second guy throw the nade, bada bing, bada boom, down he goes. I believe they did shoot him, but still, same idea. And now it's a 4 versus 1 versus 2. And this is where things fell apart for Zenith. Spoilers. They play 2 over the top. I like this peek, get the info, because again, there's a bit of a ridge line here going up like this. So Zenith and the guys inside have no vision on what's happening over here. They don't know where these guys are positioned any longer. They're finding out now by peeking over, right? Initially, they don't see anything. So Shinboy pushes down. Now, I mean, you can kind of do the, okay, so we've cleared this. We know there's no one coming in behind. We've cleared this. We've cleared the compound. Essentially, we've cleared this entire side of the circle. Where can they be? Roth is looking up in this direction. Great, we've cleared like all of this. Kickstart is sitting here, so they've cleared all of this. Roth is up here, sitting on the ridge, so they've cleared all of this. You're really limiting, like, your opponents can only really be within this area. And now they start to realize approximately where they are. They hear long skirt bullying up on the north side, but they don't know exactly about Aqua 5's position. They're throwing some nades, they're throwing some flashbangs to try and maybe force them to peek or force them to make a move, but nothing happens at first. Aqua 5 still chilling. They run back down the hill now and gives up the high ground position. Shinboy comes down to help Kickstart on the front line. Punich stays up on the hill on his own, and guys, we've talked about this before. And it's a little different. It might seem a little different when we're in close quarters. We've talked about this before. We talked about it with Flash when Daytrade beat DA the previous week. And we've talked about it with Sonics, I believe it was, when the player went down. No, Oath it was, when the player went down in the early game. Now, tell me, when you're the eye in the sky for your team, when you're the one sitting above trying to feed info to your teammates, what is the number one rule when you're sitting up here? Don't get knocked. Exactly. Stay the hell alive. Had Shinboy been up there as well, had they been 2 guys together, different story. They could peek, one could try and rest the other, they would probably be alright. But Punish is up here on his own. Don't get knocked. Yes, Boliang hit 2 incredible headshots, and that's difficult to really account for. But and it's such, like, it's so much more of a what do you say, like, tough to require. But it really is just don't get knocked. It's the alpha and the omega of being the eye in the sky position. You need to stay up there to give the info across. You don't even have to be the one shooting. That's why you have your 3 guys below. As long as you can feed the info on where they are, that's what they need you for. And now he's dead, so they can't do that. Which means that Zenith just lost all control. And not all control, because they still have the center of the circle. But they just lost all vision on what was happening in this one area that they didn't know anything about. So now they're 3. 3v2v1. Still very doable for the 3-man team. They know that this is the final circle. They know they're going to get the dot. And here's another 1v1. Shinboy goes down. Longsker peaks 1v1. Shinboy goes down. Was it Shinboy that aggressed? Was it Longsker that aggressed? Longsker peaks up, finds one, falls back down. Ends up getting traded immediately after by, I believe Shinboy's nade actually gets him knocked. And while Roth and Kickstart has now transitioned up to the north side, Aqua 5 goes, okay, they're all fighting up here. I just saw 2 knocks. I can count for myself. I know there's only 3 players alive. So if they're still shooting up here, and there's 2 knocks in the middle somewhere, that should allow me now to change my position. I gotta stay surprised. Like, I gotta maintain my element of surprise, right? And they probably figured out that I was down here, so now I rotate. Kickstart comes around the other way. Aqua 5 comes around the other way. Gets a knock onto Roth. All of a sudden, Kickstart is on his own. While this is all happening, Longster goes, wait, they're actually fighting the other solo now. This is a chance for us to res. Goes over, gets the res on up, and now they start backtracking Aqua 5. Because they know if they peek over this direction, not only... I'm about to sneeze. Oh, I hate this when I can't sneeze. God damn it. Not only do they know that the 3-man team is down here, but they know that the solo doesn't have anyone behind him. So if they can backtrack the solo and kind of have him be the meat shield and the cannon fodder for them, that's perfect. Now, not only is Aqua 5 the cannon fodder, but he's also actually doing a hell of a lot of damage. He was really, really hurting them on that side. They could try and go for the last res. They opt not to. Roth was technically resable because, as you can see here, neither of these guys really aggressed onto anything. But Shinboy, I guess they just called the shot and saying, you know what, we got 1 up. That's all we can do. Roth, you're down. Feels bad, man. Or maybe Roth said, don't go for me. Don't go for me. You got this, guys. Aqua 5, again, 1v1. Shinboy loses yet another 1v1. Ends up going down. Aqua 5 does end up going down to the blue. And here comes Aqua, like Longsker and Boliang over the ridge. Know exactly where they are, and they take them down. Could Zenith have done things differently? Is then the question, right? Because you lose a 4v2v1. Could Zenith have done things differently when they ran out the compound? They know there's a player here. They know there's something up here, but they don't know exactly what's going on. Well, of course they could. They could have won the game. True. But how? They commit on the south side to get the kills, because this is open and Longsker has an angle here. They opt to play the south. Makes pretty good sense. They get Mexi isolated, they get the kill, they're fine. They push 2 over the top. Remember, they have 0 info over here, right? They push 2 over the top. They don't see anyone initially, because Longsker and Boliang have like dips on their side, and Aqua 5 is proning behind, I believe, a vehicle and a half rock. They peek over, shots start getting fired down towards Longsker and Boliang, but they haven't seen that 3rd player yet. Now they start nading, and I believe they realize, or like they spot Aqua 5 down there as well. Shinboy comes down, Punish goes back up the hill. When you've been up here once already, look down, went back down, and comes back up here. At this point, with Roth holding this, Roth is playing Contain. Shinboy and Kickstart are playing Contain, waiting for anyone to push up. And Punish is looking over the top, trying to get info, right? At this point, when you haven't seen anyone here, and when you've isolated this, you haven't seen anyone play here, you have to assume that you know where the remaining players are. So I agree. You have the numbers. You gotta clear the solo. Nades were thrown, flashes were thrown from Aqua 5, so they maybe not know that he's exactly there. He could have been here or could have been here, but you gotta try and go for the trade. You cannot push up over this way, obviously, because infantry will shoot down in your direction. But wrap in underneath, throw a smoke, isolate them, push down, get the kill, and then you can reset 4v2. Another aspect is that they had the dot. There's no extra circles. As they push up here, I love the fact that Kickstart slowed down. As they pushed up here, they know the game ends on them. They don't have info here. They don't have info on this side, but they know the game ends on, you know, like there is a little bit of a ridge line here. The ridge goes something along the lines of this. They don't have the info down here because it's kind of downhill on this side. Not exactly drawn like this, but kind of. The dot is here. You know the game's ending on you. Just wait for them. Even without the high ground position, just sit here and wait, because you know there's one guy down here. Worst comes to worst, they're fighting each other. If Roth maintains his contain on this side, so they can't run around this way. So if Roth is playing contain, holding off this, Punich maybe instead of running up the hill, sits down here and plays contain on this. And then you have Shinboy and Kickstart waiting pretty much on the dot. I think that would have been the play. Punich aggressed, goes down because of it. And then they lose control. Because they, instead of playing center, they push 2 over the top to play, like to fall. Now they say, you know what, let's force the fight. They push 2 over the top. And while they're pushing, and your contain player is supposed to sit here, he goes up, takes the fight to Longsker, and goes down. So Punich went down to Bolding. Shinboy, who's supposed to play contain, goes up and gets killed by Longsker. And these 2 guys who are pushing haven't found their target yet, so they have to back off again. And while all this happened on the north side, they forgot about the solo on the south. And now he can come in and shoot them in the back. I should be a coach? Well, it's extremely easy, and you have to know this. When I sit here and I give the players a hard time, we are not in any way, like there are so many in-game at the time factors that we're not really taking into account. First of all, of course, there's a billion flashes, nades, smokes, everything being thrown that we can't see here. So there will, I mean, I know that there was guaranteed smokes around the map that blocked off some angles. We're just talking core principles. What could probably have been the smarter way to do it? But there's utility, there's communication. What do they know compared to what we know off of the fact that we can see everything? They sit on a stage. They are playing for $1 billion, quadrillion dollars. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to take into account, which we don't really. I mean, the fact that we can pause and talk and then continue. Today, my shirt is blue. It is actually blue today. There's a ton of stuff that we know that they don't, which makes it incredibly much easier for us. But there's still certain things that we can say. For example, Punich getting knocked up on the hill was unnecessary. Shinboy taking the fight to Longsker, or with Longsker, when Roth and Kickstart were rapping, probably could have been avoided. He could have played a more passive angle. But again, it's a lot of it is hindsight. But that was game 1. Either way, that was game numero uno, or game 6, I should say, because we're keeping track of the total games, not the on the day games. That was game number 6 overall. We're headed on over to game number 7. Good win from Infantry. They played it slow on the top, and they made their way in to win the game. They couldn't sweep south. That's where smokes come into play. And I believe they had quite a few of them as they crossed over. But again, a lot of this is hindsight, of course. It's always interesting to break down, and that's something that the players, even though, again, we can't take into account that they can keep track of absolutely everything, it's when players do this themselves, they now know. If they find themselves in a similar situation next time, maybe they can go, oh wait, Punich, maybe don't go up on that hill. Even though it's great with the info, we do have the dot behind us. Let's just wait them out. I think they got a little too greedy or aggressive there in the end. Punich didn't have to go up on the hill. They didn't technically need the info on exactly where the opponents were, because the opponents had to push over the hill to them. All they had to do was sit back and wait on 3 players that weren't on the same team when they were 4 alive. Yes, their position weren't a lot better, but they had a few trees, they had angles from where they could wait them out. They just didn't want to give them a chance to do anything. They knew there was 2 teams there, having seen both T1 and Infantry in the kill feed. So in hindsight, they should just have waited. Playing somewhat center, and this was the biggest freaking debate of a lifetime. So, circle is out to the east. Oh yeah, of course. Players are talking hindsight knowledge all the time. It's that's how they improve their game. Converting hindsight knowledge to good predictions. Like when you can convert a mistake you made in one game into a mistake not being made in the next, that's you utilizing that hindsight knowledge for the better in the games to come. So hindsight knowledge is incredibly important. It's just about how you convert it into something useful for the future. We can all sit and say, oh, you should have thrown that grenade 3 degrees further to the left and then you would have had a knock. Yes, but he didn't. And next time, maybe he can't go, oh, I should throw the grenade 3 degrees further to the left because then I will get a knock. Because it might not even be on the same map. The opponent won't be in the same spot. But if you know that you're in the same position that you were in last time, and there's a really, really great dip down here that oftentimes players always try and sit in and utilize. And if I throw my nade, like if I line up my nade like that, then it's probably going to be good. Then that could work out. When I saw Sonics perform badly on Miramar, I thought they were done for the day. Yeah, it's not always easy. Not always easy. Fortunately for them, they managed to play incredibly well later on in the day. So, similar loot spots to last game. Not really any big surprises there. Circles out to the east. Again, no one likes Los Leones. So, this is pretty much a no-go rotation coming west to east. Teams will be trying to wrap around. Go over here, wrap through La Pentida on either side, and come in north around. Let's see. Let's see how things go down here. In they go. Islands are still in, as you know. Oath try and rotate out of Los Leones. They don't go south. I mean, this is a ballsy play by Oath as well, right? In my book, unnecessarily ballsy. But T1 has oftentimes wrapped north around. They've gone up here. They've even looted up here. They've been on the north side of Los many times before. And Oath, even though we have kind of split Los Leones into T1 and Oath down on the other side, Oath still go, I guess we can, like, what if we try and take the north exit? They had a chance to just rotate out south, but maybe they hear Face down here and they go, you know what? Face might be sitting on this hill waiting for us if we leave out this way. So they hear Face down here in their vehicles. They go, great. Okay, so Face is here. Now we have to use the other exit because they could just be sitting around waiting for us. And unfortunately for them, they time their rotation with with T1 coming full speed forward and taking out 3 of them. So unfortunate Miramar game for Oath. They lose 3. Rillo ends up being on his own. Everyone else rotating in pretty much as expected, coming in from the south, over the middle, over La Pentida, and over the top, as I said before. There is still a chance. There is still a chance of an island circle, but again, no one's really expecting it. No one's really expecting it. Everyone's just setting up, waiting for the new circle to pop. Again, as you can see here with the timer, everyone's not expecting, but everyone's used to the circle popping at 9 minutes. The way that Zenith rotate in, they clear the mark here exactly. I mean, Punish is still out, but they clear the mark exactly at 9 minutes. Had the circle popped now, this would have been perfect for Zenith because they're already at speed. They're already rotating forward. They're already, like, now they know where the next circle is going and they can react accordingly. But now they get into the circle a little before. They sit around. They wait. New circle pops. They make their way a little closer. And we get this shift. This circle legit centers on this island. It actually centers on the freaking island. And everyone goes complete apeshit, including me. Everyone went completely fucking crazy. Myself included. Because even if it doesn't go to the island now, look at how little space there is to play. Look at how little space there is to play here. You have the compound. You have this mountain on the backside of Impala. And then you just have a big massive field here. Big massive field here. Smaller field, but still a field. So plenty of areas that you can't really utilize for anything. Big massive field here. Big massive field here. Not big massive field, but a field anyway. And a ton of water, obviously. So if we take away the water, including all of these, of course there's a compound down there, but including a good ton of these hillsides, there really isn't a whole lot you can utilize in this circle. And we're still at 59 alive. And of course, I mean, all kinds of hell breaks loose. Full speed forward, everyone goes. A freak of freaks go, oh, let's take the compound. And Buram starts swimming. Everyone is sending it down towards the middle. There's really nothing to take. The circle can go technically either way. The thing is, the next circle has to center on land, right? Let's take phase 3. Next circle has to center, on land. So where can we center this one? Could it go here? Easily. It could have easily gone to the islands. Here, it would have gone, let's see. The dot would have been there. So that could have happened. It could have gone here, here, all the way down to there. Could have gone a little further west. It could have centered on this again. Like, if this next circle had centered on this as well, that would have been absolutely fucking hilarious. Because then the fourth dot... Wait, if this had... Let me see. If this had centered there, phase 4 would... Because the thing is, the circles have to center on land. So, this would have centered in the water. This could have centered, but with a ton of water. This, even though we hard shifted there, would it have been? It would have been in the water, just exactly. It would have been there. What if we took this shift? Would that be land? I'm not sure. But either way, as you can see, it would have been pretty god-awful. Because it couldn't have gone anywhere down here without being in the water. That would have been a fun shift. That would have been a really interesting one. The game would probably just crash. Be like, ah, we can't do this. It has to center on land. So yeah, could easily have gone to the mountains. Or to the islands, I should say. But in the end, it didn't. We all got debated, and I cried a little. Everyone's trying to force their way in. This one, again, I mean, if we look at phase 4 and we go, oh, but it has to shift away from water. Sure. But the next one is gonna be, it was unfortunate. It had to center on land. It didn't connect over there. Now it goes back this direction. Unfortunate. Hey, Divine, how are you doing? 4am pushes up north. They want to contain the teams out here. Liquid rotates in late. Clip ends up going down. EB and James try to play underneath. Now we're waiting for the next circle to pop. Buram, they swam across. Oh, they took a boat and then they beached it. I was a little confused by how or why that happened. So back to the west we go. The compound now is a really good stronghold. You're expecting, not necessarily the game to end in there, but as we've talked about before, if you have the dot in phase 6, you're pretty much guaranteed to be in. And pretty much no matter where you place phase 6 now. Wait, this is only phase 5 is what I mean. Pretty much no matter where you place phase 5 within this, you can see it can still contain water, right? So pretty much no matter where you place phase 5, this compound is still going to be in. You get hard shifted as much as you want to. The compound is still going to be in. And then, like, let's say we put it up here, it will require back-to-back hard shifts for phase 6 then to be out. But even with that, as you can see, even with a hard shift, like even with a double hard shift in the wrong direction, you'd still be in. It's not much, but you'd still be in while everyone else is doing other stuff, right? So you're pretty much, by having the center compound in phase 4 like this, and with the compound being as big as it is, you're pretty guaranteed to be in for at least the next 2 or 3 circles. Unless if you get a triple hard shift the wrong way. Ramp, they go, fuck this. We're just gonna swim. They swim over towards Tiamba. Somehow Tiamba doesn't notice them. Not too surprised, to be honest. I probably wouldn't be looking that much into the water either. But they get 1. They push up. M200 has to back off, realizing that it's a full team of, I don't know, seals coming in their direction. They have to leave. DXG tries to wrap underneath. They get forced, like they're forced to take the fight with Ram. They lose 2. Long tries to get them back alive, and STK, they saw or they heard the rap underneath. They try to go down and penalize them, but here comes 2 from face. Gustav plays contain, making sure that if anyone goes down in this direction, he can feed the info across. HC and Fuss, full speed forward. Upa is kind of there over, like, looking over their head, right? So they actually, no, they don't get, they have the cover there, that's true. They have the cover there, so they play contain. They say you're not coming this way. They're sitting behind cover, making sure that they can't go that way. Gustav is doing the same thing, kind of, but you can also look into the other, into the other direction. And in the meantime, the teams are fighting up on the north side. Gustav comes down to help get an off angle. Now they realize the fight is happening below, but it's already come to an end, so they can't get the kills on Chiamba fast enough. So STK, despite getting a few players knocked, managed to stay alive, push forward. Vanotika prones down, finds 1, finds the second. He gets flushed as well. That's the second time that STK loses players to sneaky snakes in the grass on Miramar. So they maybe just hate Miramar now, I'm not sure. But they end up losing 2 to a player who, I mean, they just... You can say they could have accounted for him, but if they account for Vanotika being in the position that he was there, they should account for everything ever in any position always. And you just can't go around every single tree in PUBG expecting there to be a player behind it. It doesn't work like that. Weren't Tianba the team that was expected to win at the beginning of the tournament? I wouldn't say so. No. Tianba is not even the strongest team in China, so they're guaranteed to be not the strongest team in the world either. They're a good team, don't get me wrong. They're a really good team, but they're not the best. Speaking of Tianba, out they come. They try to make their way forward. Multi-circle gaming, smart rotation on their part. They look up this direction. They realize, you know what, there's people in here, obviously. We don't have a good angle. Let's not fight it. Now Tianba and Burram starts fighting. Let's go down and see if we can capitalize. There's no way these guys will be pushing out to try and take a fight to us over aggressively. Hikari does go out, but goes back in immediately. And this allows them to push down the other direction. There's too much of a threat for Afrika that if they allow one side open, they could get pushed on. Lingdu stays up here to hold this clear. This is his tripwire. He can make sure that no one, like if they cross here, he will see it. And he can give the info and they can run back the other way. So smart positioning, really smart positioning from Multi-Circle Gaming in this one. Keeping the tripwire here, in case they cross, they will have the info. They can turn around and go the other way because they haven't overcommitted to this. They have Tank playing contain. He's looking down in this direction, making sure that they can't push in that direction. Summer, they're both there to help him. And Lingdu, in case they come from behind, can give the info across. So smart setup, really smart setup from MCG. FaZe, they're up on the hillside. In the meantime, 4am and Infantry start fighting one another. They get the wipe. They manage to hold off, and now FaZe have to figure where they want to go. They're outside the circle. Penta is still alive. Vanotika is still alive. Sneaky solos in the grass. FaZe go back. They take their vehicles, and I was a little surprised here because they come out on the edge. First FaZe gets knocked, gets back up. And then when Multi-Circle Gaming comes up, and they then, like, Multi-Circle Gaming comes up, the next circle leaves, they realize we have a chance to disengage and get back down from the hill. I thought FaZe was going to stop here, but I think the threat of that is that 4am is still up here. They haven't moved in yet. So 4am, FaZe claim they take the cars. I thought they were going to stop in the dip that Vanotika was in before, but they keep driving. They go all the way down to the wall. They end up losing 3 players, and Uba sits like solo player left alive. I was scared, like I was completely sure they would have stopped there, and I think 4am expected that to happen too, because if they'd gone here, maybe they could have got pushed by MCG, but 4am would have had an angle on MCG, and they could have sat and hold off 4am themselves as well. So a little surprised to see them actually go all the way into the compound instead of trying to play it from the ridge above. 4am, of course, not going to complain about that. They come in late. They take the full hillside under control. There's no dip in. No, I know 4am could see them, but that's what I'm saying. If Multi-Circle Gaming would want to push up in this direction, 4am could shoot down on Multi-Circle Gaming. If 4am wants to push down, even though they can see FaZe down here, once they're forced to leave the high ground, they shouldn't be able to. And once they're down here, they can fight each other. And we still have players inside the compound. So I'm pretty sure this compound, this position, although it wouldn't have been a good spot to be in, no doubt about it, would still be better than them having to crash the wall the way that they did. I just remember seeing it during the game, and it's one of those, you think you know what's going to happen. They come in their vehicles, they go full speed forward, you go, great, now they're going to go down here, they're going to stop. Oh, wait, they didn't stop. One of those surprise things, at least to me. MCG, try and wrap around the east side, try and get control, try and maneuver their way into the circle. Everyone knows exactly where it's going to end. And Sia wants to make sure that no one can push up in this direction and slowly wrap his way down towards the center. They know that the center is closest to their warehouse, so they should be alright. 4 a.m. they try to clear this. They manage to do so. They wrap back, they sit back here, and they know that we have cover for longer than these guys do. So let's see if we can abuse that. Everyone's trying to force each other to fight. Plenty of collateral damage comes through here. 4 a.m. 2v1. Crazy does go down, but whoever wins the 1v1, they win the game. Smart game by 4 a.m. all the way from the, all the way from back here. They just played in so incredibly well. They sat up top. They came in super late after they'd taken the fight to Liquid, and then they just started wrapping north. Clear. Win the game. Edge sweeping 4 a.m. That is a that's a scary 4 a.m. Then we hop on over to Erangel with game number 8. Yeah, it was a really nice sweep by them. Yeah, I thought they were too. I was pretty convinced 4 a.m. had it in the bag as well. But then Sonics came. I said, no. Now let's see. Pretty straightforward plane. A little on the south side, but overall pretty decent. Circle, though, goes up towards the north. And obviously, with a somewhat southern plane, there's no one up here yet. Big fat 0. Everyone is down towards the south. And if we look at what we had going yesterday, today is not really any different. Esther this time is up here instead of Anonix. I'm not sure exactly why they swapped loot spots, but they did. Multi-circle gaming extends a little bit by sending Evil E up towards heaven. They've all been looting fort down here in the past, either this or Liquid, but now they go heaven instead. Zenith have Rod up there, or Shinboy up there, I should say. Sorry, DXG is out towards the east with a split with Fergus. So overall, everything is pretty straightforward. Not really any big surprises in terms of how teams are positioned here. Plenty of rotation opportunities over Potato, coming in from the south, east around, west around. You can really do anything. You can wrap all the way over the top. There's not too much right off the get-go here. The water is far enough on the west side that you don't really account for it in the earlier stages of the game. And 4 a.m. are really the first ones to rotate. They position themselves up on starboard, wait for things to go forward from there. One gets knocked, gets back up. No big issues. Sonics, they wrap north around. Yanba, they come north around. Gen G, they always wrap north around. Infantry, come in slow, late. Day trade comes in slow. And look at infantry's position. They know that there's a team behind them. They know that they rotated late, but then weren't the latest. So they set up, they wait for them to push forward. Now Vanotika starts full on chasing 9 as they come rotating out. And he ends up going down. He insta-headshots him. It's just... I vomit a little when I see the drive-by meta. I really hope that they're gonna nerf the shit out of that. Make it so that people never shoot from cars unless if they're passengers in a car that someone else is driving. The way that it is right now is way too broken. And then this hard shift comes. And yes, this is a hard shift. Even though the circle doesn't actually connect up towards the north, this is as much a hard shift as you could ever expect. And the main issue is, of course, as you guys know, from here on upward, it's all uphill. Like quite literally, just a big old uphill battle towards the top. And how do you rotate into this? There's a compound here. There is just Naya there. There's a compound here. So either, like, you're very it's very slim pickings what you have of rotation opportunities into this circle. Or else you have to do the wraparound on the west side. Because you don't want to drive through the city, obviously, especially not when it's this far on the edge of the circle. And these compounds, even though they are on the edge, you just never know. There are so few games left, and you just never know if there's a infantry-esque team that likes to sit here and wait for teams to come rotating past and shoot them down, right? So it's always dangerous. And the way that this circle is set up, it's just like perfectly aligned with teams on the edge that could prevent you from rotating through. So pretty tricky rotations. Many teams, I would say, could try to wrap west. Let's see. How many teams do we have on the south side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Of these 8 teams, how many teams wrap over either here or here? How many teams go into this circle from the west? Of the 8 teams. Give me an estimate. Is taking Stalber a good idea? I wouldn't say so early game. I wouldn't say sitting up here is smart early game because you can't scout anything. You can't see anything. The hills are so steep on all sides that if you sit in any of the houses, you can't see what's down the hill. From here, you can pretty much only see here to here. If you're sitting over here, like in Stalber, you can only see to here. If you're sitting in the houses here, you can only see here. Here. So opponents can really easily creep up close to you without you really being able to do anything about it. Let's see how many people wrap up that way. Everyone sends it up this direction. No one wraps the other way other than day trading infantry. Here comes Oath, super late, but they make their way up there as well. So only day trading infantry wraps up this way, which means that we know this south side is going to be absolutely freaking clustered. Only 2 of the 9 teams with Oath, I guess. Only 2 of them wrap around in this direction, which is why you can see if we make like this here, there's plenty of space on this side, whereas to this down here is completely clustered. Everyone's setting up, trying to find a space to go. Again, Oath rotation, question mark. They know for a fact that they're coming in as the very last team. So the fact that they expect to be able to get one of these 2 compounds, I don't know what they were expecting. If they on purpose just wanted to pull up on something, because they're like, you know what, fuck it, we can't win the tournament anyway. I don't understand why they would crash that in this circle when they come in as late as they do. It is only a 1-story plank house, so technically it's not good. But if you look at how little there's available here, it's, I don't know. That was a weird one. Coming in late, I would say either go around here or try and wrap even further east. But they just go, yeah, full speed up the middle, and they end up going down because of it. They do manage to take out a few of the Face Clan players, but a weird rotation for sure. New circle pups. We go to the center, but to the east. So again, downhill in this direction. Teams would have to wrap around. Longskirr sits below, can scout forward, can also make sure no one's coming in from behind. They have a chance to make the wrap up in this direction. Tiamba has to make their way up, either up on the top or try and wrap around. Because again, you don't want to be stuck up on the top of the hill with teams below you holding you out. And by the way, Divine, thank you so much for the host before. I didn't notice that when I was in the middle of the analysis. Thank you so much. I hope you had yourself a good stream. Afrika Freaks and Zenith, they fight for a little while. Afrika Freaks decide to back off. Liquid and Xianba holding off one another. Clip goes down to pick up a vehicle, I believe, or maybe get some loot, I'm not sure. So he goes down to try and hold off. STK, they go, oh, should we try and third party? Should we try and push up? Should we try and do something? Yes, we should. There's really no other way they can push in. They know Buram sits there. They know Zenith sits there. They have to try and push up this way, and they full on capitalize on it. They get 1. They get 2. They push up. They get 1 knocked by a snake again. And then they make their way into the circle. Alo does go down with 4M sitting on top. And again, 4M places perfectly. 4M sits above. They say, we don't care so much about what's happening up here. We have Forever sitting and making sure that no one is going to push down towards us from inside Stalber. We just have to make sure with 3 that no one pushes up this direction. because they want to maintain full control of this road. They want to be the last team in, and they want to be able to sit 4 guys and shoot down in this direction from above. So they keep sweeping down the road. Sonics, they get the dot. Sonics, to be honest, with the compounds that Sonics play, I would never ever call out a team winning a tournament on circle lock. But I mean, Sonics did get a lot of circles going their way in the week 6 finals. They played incredibly well, not taking anything away from them whatsoever. But if there was one team that were getting a ton of those circles going their way, that was also Sonics. The triple hard shift on Miramar, and then this one, and then the 4 circles on Erangel. Again, I mean, it could have gone anywhere, right? But it's pretty crazy. They get down James. T1 loses Star-Lord, and now again 3 below, 1 sweeping above. He's the flank, however, going up to make sure that he can either get the kills while they're looking the other way, or he can kind of push them down towards the opposing teams, and 4M can get a third-party opportunity. 1 down, 2 down. Forward they go. They get the kills. They wrap up. Now they get Dancha as well. Again, clear it out. Don't let them sit around. Clear them out. And that's exactly what they do. And now they have the entire hills up. All they have to do now is position themselves wisely and spread out. But as 4AM, are they fine with just sitting around? No, they're not. They realize they're fighting below. They go yeehaw and push down the hill to take the fight. Zenith. They go, great, that's Zenith eliminated. Then they continue pushing down towards the south side. They eliminate Buram. And now Sonics, they're like, well, we might be doomed here because Lou is sitting above. He has full eyes on this. We have 4 guys sitting over here, and now we're getting pushed from the north as well. So Sonics in a pretty tricky position there. And look at the split from 4M. It's just perfect. 2 guys push up close. God, we can both look at the compound and hold below in case a team tries to wrap this way. Lou has the info and can hold above. This is just perfect. He even pushes out of the blue to play contain on this. And they just don't move. They don't get greedy. They don't over-aggress. They just wait. From being super aggro, pushing everyone, to now just going, zoom. We will wait for you here. Very, very well played. Teams oftentimes, if they have a really good game going for them, teams oftentimes get greedy, like, you know, oh yeah, we're feeling it. I have 6 kills already. Woo, let's see if we can get some more. And then they over-aggress and they end up going down. Like, they get punished for being so greedy. Here, 4AM, they just know exactly when to stop and slow it down. Yeah, he was rotating a lot to try and see if he can get a better angle. One does go down, and I thought for a second, with Lou getting knocked up there, he was trying to use the trees to get away. I was like, oh no, we talked about the eye in the sky. You can't go down. Is this GG? Is Sonics gonna really do it here as well? But MCG, fortunately for 4AM, didn't wrap south around. They pushed through. Shrimsy tried to get out, ends up getting killed. This was a really smart play by Tank, by the way. He pushes up, like he smokes off the house, jumps up on the roof, gets the knock on Mime, and then Shrimsy just contained. Easy peasy, not a whole lot he can do. Ends up going down. 4AM wins the game against Sonics, and we move on to the next one. Not really too much in that game, really, in terms of analysis. I mean, there was some, but it wasn't the wildest in-depth analysis we've ever done. It's just sometimes you just get those games that kind of play out pretty smoothly. Game number 9 coming your way. Let me just where are you? Push your bill further to the west, to the left, and then we get game number 9 going. Here we are, from the north to the south. It's probably not going to be able to power circle. Pretty straightforward plane. Everyone can, for the most part, go pretty much exactly where they want, but the circle goes up towards the north. So, circle is going north. Afrika Freaks, you have everything you want. Pick and choose where you want to go, and let's hope for you that you made the right decision. Face down towards the south. They'll be going over towards Milta. Zenith out to the east. Nothing really out of the ordinary in terms of loot spots. Face, they just sit here and loot instead. They say, you know what, if we're going military, we might as well get some guns before we cross on over. They get the guns, they get some more vehicles, they cross over, they wrap around, and they get ready to rotate. They rotate out east of Milta to loot, because they don't want to run straight up through this phase. Oftentimes do these rotations, they cut in and do these rotations. So it's easier for them to just get rotated on the way instead of coming across, going back to Milta, and then have to go back again. They just rotate on their way towards the circle. You laugh when the circle popped? Yeah, it was pretty far north. It was a pretty far northern shift, that's for sure. And Freak of Freaks sit in a good 2-1-1 split. Or 1-2-1 or whatever you want to call it. Again, as long as you have, I mean, you can split however you see fit. As long as you have an exit strategy, if you get pushed, then you can do whatever you want. When you start losing players on your splits, that's when I start going, guys, was that necessary or should you have done that? But when you're able to disengage and keep all your players alive and still have a decent spot in the circle, even if you left the other one, you can do whatever you want. DXG up towards the north, they have Fergus all by himself up on the hillside. Again, realizes there is team nearby, disengages, backs off. Unfortunately for him, now Zenith is in here as well, and DXG could be in trouble, but no, keep on backing up. What? One, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 and a half. There's no way. Fergus fired a bullet that flew 15 and like 1.5 kilometers? Can he even see that from there? Did this actually happen? There's no way. Is he inside the wizard? Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. He's even on the other side of the building. There's no way. That's a mistake. This is an error. There's no fucking way. I was like, what? There is no fucking way you can see that. He's in a shack as well. I was like, wait, that no, it's just damage. It just shows that someone got tagged. But there's that's a bug. No way, they like no, just no. No way that happened. Near circle pops. Let's continue. I just got confused there for a second, going, wait a minute. Near circle pops. All of a sudden, this 2-1-1 split, as good as it seems. You do have 3 pretty big priority spots in the circle, so if you're a Freak of Freaks here, you might not want to try and maintain this position. Ikari leaves. Tianba. I thought Tianba was going to claim that. Look at this. Mings and Lin Shun are playing inside the compound. Now, the thing is, when you're inside the compound, you can only see this building. You cannot really see that. So they're obviously looking up in this direction. Maybe they're looking over in this direction too. So they are there. Lorena and M200, they're maintaining a 2-way split, right? Hikari leaves in a vehicle. Lorena comes over the hilltop. And I'm not sure if he doesn't see Hikari. I mean, he must have not seen him. Because they had a chance to have this 2-2 split become this 2-2 split. That would have been fucking sick. That would have been a great split for them. But they don't see it. They simply don't scout it. That might have been real damage. So Chiamba goes down and plays 4 here instead. And what team capitalizes on that? Tickleton is looking around. Wait, guys. There's no vehicles down there. There are open doors, but there are no vehicles. Mime, could you go check it out? Drives down. Looks out the window. No one's peeking. Crashes. Guys, it's free. Yoink. Why wouldn't you? Smart. They scout it. They clear it. They have left. They take it. Smart play by Sonics. Take the compound. It's one of the prior spots in this circle, so why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you go down and take that? Smart play by Sonics. And a not a misplay, just bad timing for Jamba not to be able to see that that the circles went their way. Liquid, looking towards the south, trying to find out what's going on. Day trade and Oath are fighting by the border. Not sure why. And I don't think I care break down how this fight came to happen either. Circle shifts towards the west. Pretty usual shift. Still plenty of playable areas, but there's also a lot of open terrain. Everyone, that was one of the funny things to me. Everyone at this point left the forest. Only 4 a.m. are still back here. So they go back up the hill realizing, well, there's no one here at all. So we can just go up here. And the issue is, of course, I mean, out towards the east, this, if you don't have one of the compounds, you really only can play it down here. And that's about it. That's really the only place in the open. There is a little tree you can prone behind down here somewhere. But that's really about it. You can't really play anything in the open with all these compounds still being in. So a lot of the teams out towards the east have to try and see if they can find a way to get to the west, but they will get shot at, of course, trying to transition, and therefore they can't really do that. Genji sit inside of Severny. Ram does the same thing. The circle is going to shift away from water. There wasn't a lot of water, but it had to shift away from what there was, and it goes down towards the south. Again, wherever we place... Oh wait, that was phase 3, right? No, it is phase 4. Wherever we place phase 4, no matter where we hard shift this, look at this. 21 going, oh, circle lock. No matter where we place phase 4, you're always in. Why do you think it made so much sense for them to take that position? They're guaranteed to be inside the next circle. And you know for a fact that there's so many areas here that are absolutely garbage. So the fact that Tiamba doesn't even scout this, or doesn't even hear that the vehicle is leaving, that's unfortunate. Because Sonic's got a freebie off of it. Circle shifts, and obviously Sonics are still in. SDK, go, we have to go somewhere. They crash over here. Again, it's interesting to me that no one played in this position. Because Shinboy, I mean, Zenith, they were, I believe, in first place coming into this. And they also had one of those yeehaw rotations. They try to rotate. They realize they're fighting phase. They don't want to do that. They want to get into a position in the circle. And I go, okay, where are they going? They get shot at there. They get shot at there. This was free. They don't have to go for it. And then I thought they were going to go up here at first. But as we said before, 4M is really the only team over here. Everybody has left to go down in this direction or to play in from the east side, right? So the bunker actually stayed open for pretty much the entire game. This is usually a spot where people play inside the bunker, or they'll play like on the back side looking over the bunker in any given direction. But no one ever really came down here. Genji splitting, looking around, circle, the one that we just saw, goes up here. Now 4AM comes to the same spot that that Sonics were in before. They send 2 down, they scout forward. STK crashes the same spot again, not opting to go for the bunker, and now 4AM can claim it. Infantry, they push in from behind. Godby goes, nope. I'm not going to be fighting in the entirety of infantry on my own. Backs off, goes somewhere else. New circle pops. And again, with this previous circle, let's find phase 5. No matter where... Okay, so it could have hard shifted north, and it would have forced them to leave. But pretty much no matter where we sent this circle. Unless if we like super hard shift north. Unless if we do that. And they're still in. So pretty much no matter what. They were gonna be in. Yeah, that was the day before. That was the one over here. That video is already uploaded to YouTube, so if you want to see the analysis of that one, you can hop on over and watch that. Now, one of the fun things, of course, with this one is that all of this is garbage. Yes, there's a breakable shack there, and there's a shack there. But other than that, this whole field is absolutely unplayable. Tianba knows that there's really not a whole lot they can do. They push across. They keep Mings alive. Lin Shun comes over as well. He gets rest. And I was surprised to see Sonics allow for Tianba to be alive there. Or allow for Tianba to stay alive. Mime tries to cross on over. Hints of going down. Tickleton stays on the other side. Pio, solo left alive up above, tries to stay alive with his teammates down below. I'm not sure if he doesn't have a vehicle. Oh, he does. Okay. So Pio gets down below, and now this one was interesting, right? Because Burram, this was beastly from Konaxi. First, he throws the most random nade. You know how sometimes you just run towards something and you just lob a nade over and going, huh, it might work. And it just instantly explodes Fergus. There's no way he saw him before. It's just one of those, they're on the other side of this hill, let's throw a nade and see what happens, and it lands straight on his feet. So he goes down, Connexia comes up, boom, 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 they're all dead. Connexia's just single-handedly wiped all of them. So that's the XG down, and now Buram has a chance to make a play, but they have to worry about Gen G, and I was a little surprised that they didn't try and isolate them more. Like, they can play up close here and try and contain. It's a difficult open position, but if you have smokes, you can try and make a play instead of sending it over towards Gen G. Meow goes over, ends up going down. I mean, he was just proning in a spot where they had mollies and nade distance, so not a whole lot they could do. MCG has to come down the hill. Gen G has the position. And again, Sonics 3v2 had plenty of opportunities to try and flush out Tianba, but they never really aggressed on it. They just waited them out. And because we normally talk about this, right? Where if you're in the compound only works as long as there's more than one team outside. Because if there's more than one team, they can spread out, they can take control, they can position themselves. They can essentially get you killed because of it. Now, this fight has come to an end. Gen G can do whatever the fuck they want. And these guys are still in the compound. So Gen G goes across, spreads out, takes full control. And now they're pinning them down. Pio looks on over, has eyes on H-Win. And the guys, and now they finally get the kill, but at this point, they just have full control of the circle. Esta does go down, gets rest on up. Pio is trying to isolate Tickleton with a little bit of help. Shrimsy and H-Win try and wrap around on the side. They managed to get the first knock. Nice knock there. No double peek coming in from Gen G. And I don't think... The way that they were peeking it, again, it's... And that's the issue with smokes in PUBG right now. Is that they're client-sided. So they look different for the one throwing the smoke and the one seeing the smoke that the other person threw. Because Loki, when you go back and look at the replay from the VOD, like, Shrimsy is full body peeking a smoke on our screen. On Shrimsy's screen, it's probably look different, but on our screen, it looks like he's literally lean peeking with, like, you can see his full body, a solid meter outside of the smoke, and Loki's just sitting there not shooting. I was like, Loki, why are you not shooting? But then, of course, realizing, oh, it probably looks different on his screen. So Loki didn't shoot at Shrimsy. That keeps him alive there. Now the wraparound comes in. Pio goes crazy person in the vehicle. And they do end up winning the game anyway. So it wasn't a big of a deal. But it just looks so weird. Loki is literally seeing a full... Like, he has a scope on a full person standing in the open. And he's not shooting in a 4v3 or whatever it was. But it's because he couldn't see him. So sometimes, guys, just so you know as a viewer as well. Sometimes when you watch a game and you go, wait, why is he not shooting him? You can see him on the corner of the smoke. Or, wait, how is he shooting him? The smoke is clearly there. Because he can go the other way as well, right? Either it's that he is not shooting even though he can see him. And we all go, why are you not shooting? And sometimes it's a guy that on our screen, like for the observers, sometimes it can look like the guy is fully covered. Like fully covered in smoke. And someone else just lasers him and we go, huh, how did you know exactly where that guy was when he was clearly still inside the smoke? But that's because on his screen it's rendered differently. So it's just, yeah, exactly. It's not actually a bug. It's whether you load it on the client or like individually, or you have a common load on it. I don't know the specific technical terms. I just know that it's client side. So the person who throws the smoke has better. It's just different. It's different. It's not necessarily better. It depends on what you want to use the smoke for, right? But it blooms different. But the fact of the matter is that it's not the same for both. Yes, oftentimes it doesn't matter too much, but when we see those situations where a guy's literally like peeking around the edge of a smoke, that's when it can really have an impact, because the smokes don't bloom the same way every time. So therefore, they will have different ones. I mean, again, I don't know the exact specifics. I just know that it's different. Therefore, it's pretty tricky, and therefore it can look really strange when we watch it in tournaments, like from the observer feed, where where either, as I said before, either a guy is not shooting when you thought he should have been shooting, or he is shooting when it looks to us like the guy cannot see him. And especially when the smoke starts fading away, that's when it gets really confusing. Let's see. Final game of the tournament. What's going to happen? FaZe, they say, you know what? Okay, so Oath, they didn't want to have military. We'll go take that instead. Oath, they instead opted to go Rosok because no one ran Rosok in the previous game. DA ain't here, TSM ain't here. The teams that you would usually go into this area didn't opt to go. So Oath, nice reaction play by Oath actually to go up here instead. New circle, out towards the east we go. Pretty straightforward. Again, these east side rotations are usually pretty easy for the teams on Erangel. There are a lot of opportunities to rotate east. It's a little more limited when you start rotating west, actually. It's much easier, at least I think, to rotate west to east than it is to have to rotate east to west. So, pretty straightforward. The planes, or the circles further east than the players were, obviously. So there's a little more space there. Feels like you're in school again. Love the Nelson stream. I'm glad that you do. Imagine if you could go to school and study this instead of having to learn about Greek gods or something like that you feel like you would never use for anything. There are so many things that I have learned in school, which, I mean, a big portion of them I don't remember anymore. But there's so many things that I've learned in school where I go, imagine if the time I spent learning this, I could have spent being taught how to do my taxes, or being taught how to change a tire on a car, or being taught, I don't know, something else that's actually like a life's issue thing. How to deal with the stress of not being able to find a job, or like so many things that could be so good for kids to be taught about that instead we're forced to spend a year of high school learning about the Greek gods and learning how to speak Latin. And we don't even learn how to speak it. We just learn, like, I can't even remember. We just learn small, pointless Latin things for the sake of learning small, pointless Latin things. And there's probably a bigger meaning to it, which some would argue, but it's crazy to me. No, I didn't use the Pythagorean theory. No, I used the golden, what do you call it in English? I don't even know. Is that the same, maybe? You know, in math, you had to, like, when you were looking at a photo, and this was all, you know, like Leonardo da Vinci and all those. When you made a painting, you had to find the golden angle, or whatever it's called. And then Danish, it was the golden cut. I don't know if that's the same in English. You'd have to find the golden cut in order to know exactly why the eye is there and why the tree is over here, because that's how they thought. Golden ratio, yeah, exactly. I'm like, what the fuck am I ever gonna use this for? Okay, there's 98 people in chat, and also people watching this video on YouTube. Have any of you ever used the golden ratio for anything since you left school? If you've even been taught it to begin with, that is. Have any of you ever used the golden ratio for real life stuff? Damn it. Gandalf, have you used... Stop pranking me. Stop pranking me. As a sculptor, use it every day. God damn it. I was trying to make a point. And you all ruined it. Are you actually serious? X-File and Morbid and Sherlock? Are you actually serious? Are you... Why are all of you guys working in design? Why can't you just be accountants and lawyers and scientists? Why do you have creative jobs? I'm trying to make a point about how pointless the golden ratio is, and here you come actually supporting it. God damn it. Okay, new point. See, now I can't come up with anything. Now it just makes me look bad. God damn it. Okay, guys. You know what? I admit defeat. I admit defeat. School is important. Learn all those things. Don't learn how to do your taxes or with my head placement, yes. That's why I always keep my head in completely still. Because it's, I know this is the golden ratio. That's why I look so handsome. That's what it is. You take a nice Instagram photo. Yes. Every single time I take a photo on Instagram, I spend like, you know how people would spend an hour editing the photo? I'm just like, before I even press the click button, I'm like, wait, okay, hold my phone still. And then I like on the side, I do my math, like, okay, 3.2 degrees that direction, 3. Oh, okay, a little up. Oh, wait, that leaf over there. There we go. Click. And then I still only get 1 like. I don't know how it works, man. I'm so sad. So sad. I spend hours on every single Instagram photo and I still never get the appreciation that I feel like it deserves. Stop talking about golden ratios. I escaped golden ratios when I got out of school. I don't need to learn any more about it. Not before I start doing more graphical stuff, I guess. 1/3, 2/3, same, different number, you know? What am I taking pictures of? Not the correct things, I guess. I feel like if you want to be famous on Instagram, either you have to take photos of water puddles or baby animals or just animals in general or sunny beaches or nude women or like half nude women or cars. I feel like those are your ways to Instagrams. Or maybe cakes, you know? Platinum ratios. I am a platinum ratio. That's what it is. Let's continue the analysis. I guess my example of the golden ratio was a bad one when I have apparently only got designers in my following on Twitch. I did not know that. I only have designers and yet no one has ever... I guess that's a compliment. So many of you are designer people and no one has ever flamed me for my really ugly self-made overlays on Twitch. So, thank you for that. And they're not all ugly. I do, like, the name is Toby logo and my, you know, like the waving guy, obviously. I didn't make those myself. They're actually kind of cool. But the way that I've set it up has all been, just thrown on the screen and no one dislikes it. At least I haven't heard any rude comments about it. Other than people yesterday wanting me to put naked photos on my wall, but it is what it is. Nude women and sunsets. Oh, sunsets, of course. Oversaturated the sunsets. True. No. Internet historians overlays, no. I don't know if I want to now either with the way that you just presented it. Okay, so this is a pretty fun circle. To go back to what we're talking about. Let's cut this in 3, right? To use the golden ratio. This is where the golden ratio is. Therefore, liquid will win the game. Is that about right? I don't know. Toby OnlyFans confirmed. Yes, me taking pictures of sunsets. But no one's really up towards the north. That's what I wanted to say with it. Obviously, the south is kind of out because no one's going to be playing it. But the north is extremely open. Whereas to everyone's crashing their way into the farm area and trying to get compounds down here. Now SDK are coming down. DXG doing the same thing. Tianba and Oath are having a pointless fight in Rozhok, but you might as well since it's the last game of the tournament. And both Gen G now, both Gen G and Day Trade are opting to wrap across. Day Trade go, yeah, you know what? I see you, Gen G. Let's not do that. So they turn around and go the other way instead. But I like the fact that both of them wanted to rotate that way initially. Afrika Freaks and FaZe, full on cluster fight inside the farm area. Not sure why Afrika Freaks committed the way they did. It was pretty pointless. But I guess, again, a situation of a team not being able to win. A card ends up getting knocked. Hikari comes in. Here comes the full-on pull-up from FaZe. They both end up going down. And after they've both gone down, EJ crashes on one knock, despite the fact that he knows the entire team is there. And Hansia goes as well. I guess they were just tilted and they wanted to leave the game. And it works out for them. So, new circle pups. Afrika Freaks are eliminated. And Infantry and Gen G fight on the south side. Feels freaking rip. But then again, I mean, it's kind of... I guess it's only fair that when you're the team bridge camping, if you don't succeed, it's only alright, right? It's... as much as I would have loved to see Infantry maybe even win the tournament, because I think they're a very good team, I guess it kind of warms my heart a little to see the team that try and bridge camp don't succeed. So, haha, joke's on you, Infantry, for trying to bridge camp when it didn't work out. Again, split it in thirds, people down towards the south, literally only 1.5 team up towards the north. New circle, wah. This is where things get terrible, because we just went from pretty decent amount of cover and compounds. You don't really have compounds over here, but here, to up towards the north. We have shelter. Inkwind dip. We can make this circle a little bigger because there's a little more cover there. Everything that is not... I guess we'll do this. Okay. Fair enough. I'll rewind a little. Everything that is not this is... there you go. Everything that is not this is... God damn it. It's not a penis. I'm not even going to roll that. Everything that is not... Everything that is not this is pretty terrible. So, as you can see, a whole hell of a lot. Okay, fair enough. We'll draw this as well. Okay, up here. Everything that is not this is pretty terrible. And as you can see, that's quite a lot. That took me a few tries. Everything that is not this is pretty terrible. Everything that is not this is pretty terrible. You know what? Fact of the matter is that there's a lot of areas within this circle that are pretty garbage. And I guess the good thing is that a lot of them were up for grabs for quite a while. But one of the sad things is that there are just really only so many spots you can play from. Yamba's position is a duck. I'm sure it was. I don't even know where they were. Down towards the south, teams tried rotating in. Loki gets an absurd 1v4. Brrr, just lasers the entirety of Buram. MCG wants to make a play on them. Doesn't happen. And then this happens. 4am sits in first place. And they go... Guys, can you feel it? 1.2 million. 1.2 million. Whoop, whoop. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? We have a good circle. We have 2 positions. We can push up here. We can push out there. As long as the circle don't hard shift east, we're sitting pretty well. And then this happens. And now I don't speak that much Chinese. Actually, I pretty much don't speak any Chinese. But if there would be any point in this tournament where 4am was going, you know, that would probably be seeing this circle. This circle could have gone, I want to say, pretty much everywhere other than hard shifting east. Here, this shift would have been okay. This shift would have been okay. This shift would have kind of been okay because they could just have pushed down and played into the south. All these shifts would have been absolutely amazing. This shift could have been decent, but we get this. Literally, pretty much the only shift that would be horrible for 4am. Because shelter is shit. You have to push the open, so there's no point in going up and playing there. This is out, out, out. You can't play the open here because the hill is still in and the position over here is available. It's just for all of them. Now, the only thing that I noticed and I was a little surprised by is that I think 4am were really busy looking in this direction and, of course, trying to contain what was over here. But I would actually have expected to see them try and crash like King Queen Dip earlier. Or maybe go all the way over here. Just as soon as they see the circle pop. But they just seemed like they weren't even ready to rotate. They seemed like they weren't. But at least for Sonics, they have a chance to push up into the forest. Like, Sonics can make a play on the forest. They have 3 alive, 4 alive make that. On the shelter, they can try and wrap around Liquid and make a play on the forest. They have a place to go on foot. 4am can't really rotate up and backfill shelter. They can't really play this on foot. They have to drive somewhere, and there's just really nowhere for them to go. They could try and crash 4 into STK, but that's not really worth either. So I would argue that 4am's position here is actually worse than Sonic's position is. So an absolutely god-awful circle that I want to say pretty much lost 4am. Because at the circle, I mean, again, it's always easy with hindsight, but I would say that had the circle included either one of these two, 4am would have survived for long enough that they wouldn't have ended up dying the way that they did. And also, when does the circle pop? The circle pops at 16:30. When does 4am decide to leave? Now, almost 3 full minutes later, almost 3 entire minutes later, and look at how many teams beat them on the rotation. T1 got to split out, Liquid got to claim King Queen Dip. There's no one here for a good piece of time that they could have crashed. I know it's ballsy having to go to the other side of the circle where you don't really have a whole lot of info, but whether it's because they sit here waiting for people to come to them, or wanting to push over there but wanting to be all 4 together first, and even if that's the case, then why would they, like, after the circle shifted, why is Forever and God be down here for so long? They're running back and forth, maybe getting loot and stuff, but they should have done all that way earlier. Like, why haven't they rotated yet? It's as if they're just ready to go. They have 2 vehicles, they rotate on over, now they come over on the other side, and they just... I mean, even with people rotating in that they could have shot at, they aren't in a position to do anything about it. It's just so weird to me that 4am, being such a smart, decisive team, don't make a play earlier. And then when they do make a play, literally everything is gone. They could try and play on foot. New circle goes away as well. Again, now we're just making it even worse to play out here. King Queen Dip is out. This is out. They can try and go in, but there's a team on this side. There's teams fighting over here. And SDK would be shooting at them the entire passage through. They can't do a whole lot. Sonics just wiped the team. This was so confusing to me as well. Snakers is a solo player left alive, and he sees players from behind, but opts not to shoot at them. That was very strange to me. Snakers of all people, the guy that just shoots at everything and doesn't seem to care a whole lot. But I guess, I mean, if you can win the last game, then that's always something. So 4am up to wrap south around. I would have thought that 4am would have wanted to try and play over here and build a car fort. But the wrap down south, and honestly, I think part of the reason why is that they know Sonics are down here. They know Sonics are in this area of the map. Take the fight to them. New circle pops. They have to move. They see them get a kill. Had they waited a little longer? Had they waited, because the blue is moving in pretty slowly. This is at 10 times speed, right? Had they waited a little longer, FaZe and Sonics would have been fighting. That could have been a good third-party opportunity. But instead, Godby goes down to Mime. Nice shot by Mime. And now they come 3 guys in 1 vehicle. FaZe are backing off, and they don't have to fight, because now FaZe, obviously, are waiting for these 2 teams to fight each other. So at 4am, wait a little longer. They could have had a third-party opportunity on them. But they go up, they say, you know what? This is our chance to push up, make a play. They go down, and not only do they go down, but they literally feed all the kills to the one team that's chasing them on the leaderboard. So just feels bad, man. But that's shift. That phase 4 circle was literally the only shift they couldn't play on. Just incredibly unlucky final game for them. Could they have reacted earlier? Yes, but still incredibly unlucky that it went the way that it did. Baseline, come out on the side. Fuzzface, caught out of position, was up on the rock. He goes down. Here comes STK. They don't want to give them anything for free. STK also knows that they have a chance to make some pretty big money if they can get good things going here. So they decide to push up. Xiaoyang, still alive from infantry, after having escaped all the opponents, tries to fall back down. And now we find ourselves in a situation where... Oh yeah, they were super heavy, no doubt about it. Now we find ourselves in a situation where Zenith... We don't have the leaderboard here, but I remember doing the math. Zenith needs to get all the kills in order to win. And what I mean by that is that there is 7 players alive, and they were down by 7 points. No, they were down by 13 points. So they would get another 7 points of placements, and they would get the kills they needed. Or was it 14? I don't know. Either way, I added it up so that Zenith would need all the final kills. They would need 7 kills. And they would need the placement points. That way they would tie first place and probably win on kills. Because they already had some placement points. So they needed to get all the final kills. And they needed to get the chicken dinner. Zenith, they get the edge of the circle. They play it smart. They sit tight. They know that MCG has to leave. They don't know about Xiaoyang, obviously. Because he's been chilling there for the better part of the entire game. Shenboy falls down. Punich falls down. Here comes STK, full speed forward they go. 1 falls, kickstart falls, Roth gets the rest on 1. They get the rest on the second, and I go, oh my god, there's actually a chance. There's actually a chance. They got Xiaoyang down, now they just need all the remaining kills. But as you can see here, by falling back and having to go for the reses, they end up going down. And I don't think 3 would have been enough. No, because they had already, like with the way that the point system works on the side of your screen, they had already gotten placement points. Like it counts. As soon as they get into top 4, they get more points on the leaderboard. All 7 and tie. Exactly. They need to get the kills and tie. And they would have tied. MCG wraps out. And this right here, boom. Tank the kill for what? $300,000 or $150,000? GG. GG. They were on 77. They needed 13 points. And that would have been enough for them to tie. But that's it. That is PGIs over and done. It's been a great joy doing all these analysis streams. If you're watching on YouTube, of course. For those of you guys on Twitch, I'm going to stick around for a little while longer. But if you're watching on YouTube, it's been a great joy. I hope you enjoyed the analysis stream. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe on the channel and do all that stuff. And yeah, hope to see you back for more analysis in the future. Take care.